kay musulti ako na namin to.
Okay.
Okay ra?
No problem.
So my goodness, ay kuha na akong
Ang height niya?
ang now nako kanang asang where's the remote?
Here, oh. Should I open the window?
Open a little bit lang siguro.
So cool.
Ano sa plabi? Ay, ano sa
Like this?
Oh, okay na mo.
Yeah, okay, hold on. Kainit ito.
Stop.
Oh, like that. Is that fine?
It's fine by me. Kuwang ginasuga pero kanigin. Mas nindot gin ko sa ako lang.
Yeah.
Ako lang sige gusto ko.
Ah, yeah. Oh, but it's not turning on your side.
Ulit ah.
Okay.
Di sige man para ko dali.
Ah, okay. You only have one DI? Okay.
Tuoy. Ano? Yours. Makwadre.
No, mine is 2, yours is 1.
Because you need more light.
More light, wait lang ha. Archbishop.
What does that even
mean?
Ay, my goodness! Language!
What's this?
So, ang sound mo na siya?
Church.
Itong microphone, ang sound mo na siya. Di kayo kasabot na yung, akong feeling ba nga, can you,
Here.
can you test this first?
Okay.
I wanna see ba. Can you
Mic test.
No. Can you mic test facing your back like kanang magpalikod ka ba? I'll tell you.
Okay.
Hold on. 3, 2, 1.
Mic test. 1, 2, 3.
Trying to reconnect. Word.
Hello. Mic test.
Nga, wa na. Buhay parang life.
Parang live.
That's really what life is. It's parang buhay. Okay.
Mic test. 1, 2, 3. Hello. If magtalikod ko like this. Hello.
Continue.
Mic test. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Top of the morning. With Jiggy Juice. Test. Mic test. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Mic test. Stupid.
Did it work?
Yeah,
And this one is blue. What does blue mean? It doesn't say rec. Type-C charger. Type-C bonus.
There it is.
Oh yeah, this is Type-C.
Okay.
Mic test. Hello. It's not getting from the thing, no? Mic test. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Top of the morning. Maybe I should long press it because it's blue.
Try ko na.
Or red. There na. I read.
That's recording.
Red means to record. Test.
See, let's try that kono.
Red and blue? Okay.
No, try kono
Test. Mic test.
this.
Wireless Pro.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Continue, Justin.
9, 10, 11, 12. Mic test.
Okay. Oh my God.
Makes a feeling. So now it's with red.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
yours
6,
works.
7, 8. Continue, Justin.
9, 10, 11, 12.
Dili sa? Usa tong microphone sa?
Or maybe it's because you're near that, so that's why
That's why.
it heard you.
It's probably
It's because from the cell phone mic,
dili lagi not from the person, not from the
not from this one. Lobat siguro ni.
dili lupat eh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Continue, Justin.
I think that's because you're near.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Continue, Justin.
9, 10, 11, 12.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Continue, Justin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Continue, Justin.
9, 10, 11, 12.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Continue, Justin.
9.
Continue, Justin. Hay buhay parang life. One.
Test, mic test.
Amen.
So this mic doesn't work. I'll make my voice louder lang siguro.
I just put it in the middle. Para madumi na ng drama. This is make it closer. Okay, let's do this.
Here you go.
No?
Okay,
Let's pretend that it works lang para, diba? It's
Ano
about
maanad?
it's the mind, right?
Fake it till you make it.
Fake it until it will work.
Fake it until it works.
Okay, now let's just do. Oh, there you go. Gana?
Yeah.
Kaya ba?
It's fine. I'm
Okay.
closer to the
Can you see?
right side.
Tanawin mo
That's
yung
fine.
mga Facebook.
Facebook Live.
I'll forward it to you ba? Okay, we're now live.
Hold on. I'll turn-
Morning, guys.
Hi everyone.
So you have the headlines, right?
Yeah.
You have the headlines with
Okay, I
you?
see you're live now. I
Yeah.
do have the headlines. Here. These news.
Mayong buntag sa katatong tanan.
I'll open one more article to be sure.
Katatong tanan.
I'll open one more article to be sure. What is this? Nabutas Al Jazeera.
Al Jazeera.
And New York Times.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Mayong bungkag sa kanatong tanan. Welcome to Top of the Morning. I'm your host. My name is Jiggy Juice.
And my name is Justine Narvios. Hi, guys.
Is it?
Can you hear me? Oh, hold on.
Is your name really Justine Narvios?
Is it? That's the question there.
Welcome to Top of the Morning. Today is I don't even know what day it is today. Is it
30.
January 31? Is it?
Yep, it's the 31st.
That's 31 sa January.
January.
Sige,
What is it in Bisaya? Because I know in Tagalog, isn't it like Enero?
Enero. I think it's also
Okay.
Enero in
Also Enero
in
also.
Bisaya. Actually, I'm not sure, but anyway, today is a Friday, January
Ooh.
31, 2025, and yeah, atong hisgutan ko ng buntaga. This is going to be quite ambitious for us, but I think we need to talk about this because
Yeah,
it's all over the
current
headlines,
events.
right? Two things, right? Number one, ang wage hike, right? There's like across the board wage hike of 200 pesos. That means nga ang atong mga sweldo inkrisa nila across the board in all industries, big or small businesses by 200 pesos. Unya, ang usa sa mga gihisgutan nila is importante nga ang ato ang mga sweldo kuno all the same. It has to be all equal. Not just Luzon lain, ang Visayas lain,
Yeah.
ang Mindanao lain, right? Because I think
It should be accurate and kind of like
uniform
word?
siya,
Uniform, yeah.
uniform siya sa both or all
islands.
islands, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. And also, we're going to talk about the Catholic Church priest child abuse controversy that's going on all over the headlines today. So, muna itong hisgutan karong buntaga. I want you guys to pitch in. May bungkag ni mo da, Jim. Na si Jim mo, ang atong pariente nga gwapo, si Rocco Steady.
Hi, Uncle Jim. I was like, who's Jim? Oh, Uncle Jim. You mean Rocco's thing? Hi, Uncle Jim. Thank you so much for joining us.
Daghang salamat. Also, you can join us on YouTube at Tops Media Center. So let's talk about the wage hike first, okay?
Okay.
Do you have anything there, Justine? Is there anything that we can talk about in terms of any news media
Yeah.
outfit that has covered this particular story?
Yeah, so I'm going to read this article by the Philippine News Agency.
Okay.
So this is an article released yesterday or updated yesterday at 4:45 p.m.
Okay.
So it's titled 200 pesos daily minimum wage hike hurdles House panel.
Okay.
So the House Committee on Labor and Employment approves a substitute bill mandating a 200 peso daily across the board wage increase for private sector workers on Thursday, January 30th, 2025. The measure requires that all private businesses, regardless of size and industry, to implement a 200 peso daily pay hike upon enactment. So, yeah. During the hearing, the panel chaired by Rizal 2nd District Representative Nograles approved the substitute bill under House Bills number 5147, 568, and 7871.
So unsa may pasabot ni ani, is that already going to be implemented or it's going to pass another process pa?
So it says... So it was approved by the House Committee on Labor
Okay, so-
and Employment
So kuha na,
yesterday.
ang presidente na likuha nga na, signature na lang ni
upon
BBM?
hike and hold on ha. It says here that it prohibits employers from offsetting the increase with previous wage adjustments unless explicitly anticipated under the collective bargaining agreements. So now, the DOLE, or the Department of Labor and Employment, will be tasked with conducting inspections to ensure compliance. So I think this is already in effect.
Okay, that's good.
If I'm not mistaken,
Okay.
in effect na siya.
Okay.
So employers violating the law will face fines ranging from 50,000 pesos to 100,000 or imprisonment up to 4 years. So let's see. Yeah, that's all I got so far.
Is this going to be across the board? And what does across the board
Mean.
mean in that regard? I think it's
Daily across the board wage increase.
okay. Because I was hoping na is like hisgot diha about murag nationalization sa ato ang wage rate, right? Okay, I think that's a very important aspect of wages now, especially we're living in a hyper-connected world, right? And number two, I think the cost of fuel, for example, is uniform across the board all over the country. In fact, an argument can be made nga mas mahal pagali ang gasolina sa mas layo nga lugar. Kay it takes time for the truck to arrive
To
there
deliver
to deliver
the-
the fuel, the fuel tank. So
So the resources, the time, the effort for them to get there
actually
would
is
merit na it would cost more.
more. Yes, ang nakabantay sa guana kay naay lugar diri sa Cebu nga ang gasolina barato. Right? For example, kana sa Petron sa Talamban barato. Nya pag human inig abot nako sa unahan, mahal na kayo. By 1 peso, 2 pesos, 3 pesos na bitaw. Grabe kay ka lagyo ang presyo ba. Unya ako sad moadto kana mga tumig dakit sa barili. Naay lugar padapit sa Naga nga medyo bubarato ang gasolina. Pero abot na sa unahan na mulapas na ka og Minganilya ato ka sa Naga sa San Fernando ang mga gasolina mahal-mahal na pud. So I think an argument can be made nga kung mas layo ang lugar mas mahal
Mas
ang
mahal
gasolina.
ang gasolina.
So mo man ang atong fuel ang atong drivers of the economy. Ang fuel man na, di ba? Kaya asa man mo transport ang mga goods there, di ba? Sa truck man na, ang truck, kinahanglan man ang gasolina. So mas mahal day ang gasolina kung mas layo ang lugar. Right? So at the same time, kanasang bugas, di ba? Parehara man ang presyo across the board, right? I mean like in all areas of the Philippines. I don't know kung nabay mas barato nga baligya sa bugas, parehara siguro presyo sa tanan, di ba? Maram nag-standardized nila, di ba? And
Regardless where you get it.
and many more levers, many more economic drivers pa kanang
And goods.
price of rice, kanang fuel mo gini ang mga mura og tan-awon gyud mo di ba at ato nagi galunggong ang presyo sa isda di ba mo na tan-awon nila mo na siya ang more indicator how the economy is doing unsay presyo sa galunggong di ba
Groceries.
yeah so but is this across the board meaning to say is it all over the country and will we nationalize our wages here unsa kay tan-awon mo Justin kay
Yeah.
information about nationalization of our wages
I would like to correct first what I mentioned earlier. So
Okay.
I think I said earlier nga murag, I think it's in effect.
okay
Pero apparently I'm wrong. So
Okay.
the House Committee on Labor and Employment approved the measure or approved the bill.
okay
Pero lawmakers are pushing for the measure to be welcomed by the House panel's action.
Okay.
And they urge the president to certify the bill as urgent.
Okay.
So it can be approved on the third and final reading at the lower house before Congress adjourns session next week. So
okay.
it's to be approved by Congress next week.
so approved
For
pa
approval
by
pa ni
Congress
siya.
okay
Yeah.
So how about
me read
how
on.
about the nationalization?
Yeah, that's the part.
Okay, I overheard, or I actually overheard my mom and dad my dad talk about it earlier today. Nga kuan kano nga ang ato ang sweldo ko mas maayo kuno nga i-nationalize. According to Jim here, does this pay hike include independent business owners and their pay, their staff? What does that mean, independent business owners? Ato ang takna karon 40 minutos nang nilabay sa alas 10. You're listening to Top of the Morning. Sa ato ang mag-anisay ta sugbo, atong hisgutan ang wage hike increase across the board kuno 200 pesos murag ni-pass na sa Senate, right? Unya approval na lang sa Congress ani siya. Mo ba to sakto ba ko Justin?
Yeah, for
and
next week's.
also we're going to talk about the child abuse in the Catholic
Controversy.
Church controversy.
Yeah.
Akong amigo si Mr. Limpag mo na ing murag source sa istorya ni sa Rappler. We'll get into that right after we finish this conversation about wage hike. Kay murag daghan sa kayo mga negosyante nga murag ni angal ani kay pasabutan na nga ang ilahang negosyo kay nang increasean ilang sweldo sa ilahang mga tao.
Yeah.
So ang pasabot niya na sad is that they have to increase their expenses, di ba? So mao sa ni ang usa sa mga apan ana nga dapita diya. Of course daghan man kayo sa Pilipinas nga gitawag og informal economy. Kanang informal economy pasabutan na nga kana bitawng mga gihisgot ni Jim diri kanang karinderya for example, right? Kanang gitawag na to og
Small.
cottage industries. Kana bitaw
Sari-sari stores.
Sari-sari store ana bitaw.
Mini convenience stores.
Yeah. I think the kanang mga sari-sari store I think na sila buhis
Term?
gyud. Na gyud na sila buhis na gyud. I think they pay like a straight amount, you know, like a certain amount. Kaya nakakita ko sa among silingan nga na ay
Sari-sari
sari-sari
store?
store. Naman sila murag business permit ba. Nabita sila kita ka ng orange nga murag
Document nga
document
ibutang
nga
sa ilang
ibutang sa kuan.
kilid.
Yeah, so
sa wall.
na gyud na si tawag gani rehistro ang even the sari stores. So usa sa nani sa atong tan-awon pod ang kanang gitawag na to gig economy. Kanang gig economy pareha na natong mga DJ kanang mga host kanang kanang tagsara bitaw
It's like events based, so murag it's per booking.
per event per transaction ba. For example kanang
Grab drivers, Maxim, Lala Move, kanang what are they called gani? Kanang when you book them for ride share,
mahog siya.
food delivery,
I think
parcel.
that's still part of lahi mo sa nang ilaha good lahi sa nang ilaha kay actually that's very controversial in the States because I think naiuban nga state nga nakadaog bago lang yun nabasahan ako nga nakadaog sila og kaso nga kinahanglan tagaan og healthcare ang mga Uber drivers right because mura og importante na siya nga dapita diha.
Yeah.
Nga naa sila healthcare kay kana ibang trabaho medyo stressful sad biya di ba?
Yeah.
Kapoy kay
They're,
nastan di
they're
ba?
on the road for several hours in
Yeah,
a day.
yeah.
Kanang for them to also make sure that their passengers arrive safely, kaya they also need to be taken care of.
Yeah.
So,
Mm.
yeah. Pero wala man tayo Uber here, no? There
No,
was a
no.
time na we had, right?
Yeah, we did.
Couple years ago, we
Yeah.
had Uber.
Yeah.
Yeah, karon na, ano na siya,
Th-
more on Grab.
Murag nang
and
luod
Lalamove.
nang luod to ang Uber nang luod to siya kay murag
Asia.
gilisod sa gobyerno bitaw.
Mm.
Unya naraman sa mga other players niya kung
Yeah.
mag
Lalamove, Grab, so many others.
na may daghan ng mga
Maxim,
lain ng mga apps nga ni appeal so
Angkas.
so dili na lang murag they didn't feel the need
Yeah.
anymore to compete in a saturated area of society. So yeah, how do you feel about that, guys? How do you feel about the wage increase across the board, 200 pesos? I'd like to know your thoughts. Join us at Tops Media Center on YouTube and also at my Facebook page at Jiggy Juice. Join us in our conversation about the across the board wage
hike.
increase, wage hike. Unya, nindot sa ni Justin nga ato ning i research ko no gamay nga whether there's also a move to nationalize wages. Ang
Yeah.
pasabot niini nga ang atong sweldo from Apari to Hulo, from Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, pariha ra gyud uniform.
Yeah.
Ang nakanindot mo gud nang i-uniform ato ang sweldo is nga ang mga tao kung ganahan sila og motrabaho sa probinsya, kung dili sila ganahan sa saturation sa
Of the city.
population, traffic sa syudad, ganahan sila moadto sila probinsya, makakita sila trabaho dito nga mo sakar sa ilahang mga pangahinanglan, then pwede ra sila motrabaho dito. Unya dili lisod, di ba? So may tambuan na ma-decentralize ang ato ang ekonomiya, di ba? Ang mga tao
More job opportunities
Oh.
in the province also.
Yeah,
No, may
yeah.
power pod sila to
Oh.
make a living there.
Yeah. And of course, akan asang decentralization daghan kay mga factors nga you have to also consider kay kung ganahan ka man trabaho ka sa probinsya, mga to ka sa Barili, Justin, or sa Dakit, pag human asa man ay wifi dito, right?
Mag-isod ka.
Unya na hospital dito in kaso mapangos pa lang ko ni mabali pa lang ko ni pag human kaning basig I'm going to bleed to death kay layo pa kayo ang hospital, di ba?
Hospital.
Di ba?
Yeah, exactly.
So daghan kayong mga considerations ba, but I think it can start there, right? It
So
can start.
industrialization can slowly creep into all those other
Oh,
areas
yeah.
pod, no?
yeah. So it can start with the wages, di ba? And pwede naman sad nga, for example, ikaw na lang mo bayad sa imong wifi, for example, di ba? Or whatever, because I think ang pinakadako gid nga factor nganong mahal ipuyo sa syudad kumpara sa probinsya
Living
is
expense.
cost of living, di ba? Kanang for example, renta nimo. Rent, di ba? The cost of renting a condominium, an apartment, even a bed space or in Makati is definitely more expensive compared to, let's say, here in Cebu.
Cebu.
Or maybe dito sa Dakit, sa Barili, sa Pinamungahan, sa Dumanhog dito. Basig kung naiabangan nito, basig imuharang silingan dito, imuharang paryente dito, then moadto ka dito, okay ra. Di ba?
Compared to
Oo.
here.
Kumpara
Sa
diri.
city, gid.
Niya pag human ka na sang pagkaon, di ba? Kung naa ka sa Makati or naa ka diri sa Cebu City, di ba? you know
Makati.
you notice the accent.
Yeah.
Mukaon ka moadto mo jud kag fancy schmancy restaurant,
Yeah.
di ba? So
Amp up the prices.
oh.
Yeah. Compared to kung naara ka dito sa probinsya, pwede na ka magluto-luto.
Mangluod mang sagka, kaning di man sa kaganahan, makita na magsuit antay ka, mag yung adto ka karinderya. Lo, unsa man ni si Justin, luuya ning Justin oy. Kaning nag pantsuit man siya pag human ang adto ka karinderya nagpungko-pungko. Luuya ni Justin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes dili gyud ka maka I don't know, maka-adjust ba sa imong lifestyle ba kay naanad man ka good, for example
Comfort also is a big factor
Yeah,
that people take into account.
Yeah.
And if you're, for example, you're working in an office space, naanad ka nga, bugnaw man gyud na.
Aircon.
A lot of I noticed ba kaning a lot of people working in BPO, kay ang kanang digid na sila they always have jackets.
Yeah.
They always have jackets on.
kay
Kay-
tugnaw man gyud kayo sa ilang
Like,
trabaho,
I've never
di ba?
seen someone who works in BPO nga digid mag-coat or mag-jacket or, like a cardigan or something
Oo.
like that. So, marg naanda na sila nga. They're in that environment for several hours in the day. So, syempre, when they wanna eat, usahay uncomfortable siguro for them to go out ya ato dito sa init mga pungko-pungko, so they'd like to eat in restaurants.
Correct.
Like, especially for those nga around in IT Park. Although mo exist kaya po ng kanang namukaon diha sa gawa sa mga karinderya and that. Pero yeah, I get what you mean nga. It's kind of like a shift ba nga maglisod sila adjust. Earlier you mentioned something about the informal sector. So karon
Informal economy.
yeah. So karon the Employers Confederation of the Philippines
Okay.
or ECOP,
Okay.
ECOP, is the country's biggest trade organization. It has consistently rejected calls for the wage hike,
Okay.
citing its disadvantages for the informal sector, which they feel would be severely affected by the increase without receiving any benefits in return. So they asserted that and said that the wage hike would negatively impact farmers, fisherfolk, market vendors, and others in the informal sector, which accounts for 84% of the labor force. So that's just the end of this article, but I wanna read this is from the Tribune, Daily Tribune. I wanna know, how does that negatively affect the informal sector? Or no, you said something better earlier.
Informal economy.
If informal economy. Ngano negative man ang effect ani?
Sa unsa sa?
Sa informal economy, the Employers Confederation of the Philippines, the biggest trade organization, ECOP, says that it's gonna negatively impact farmers, fisher folk, market vendors, and which accounts for 84%. So I wanna know ngano negative ni siya. So this is why we need to read.
Well, that's not the informal economy kanang farming, di ba?
Informal sector it is. Farmers, fisher folk, market vendors.
Ano ka?
So I want to know, but that's the end of the article, literally the last paragraph. So wala siya continuation. I want to know why.
Okay.
Ngano negative. So ECOP, no, hold on.
How about you guys? How do you feel about the wage increase and hopefully even a talk of nationalizing the wages nga? Uniform na lang nato ang atong mga sweldo from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Wala na laingon nga mas takog sweldo dito. In fact, nakadungog kog istorya nga there's this bank, like a multinational bank, nga ang ilang sweldo maskig naakad diri sa Cebu City or naakad dito sa Bogo, pareha yung sweldo. So
That's nice.
Bangko hinuno siya. So it doesn't matter where you're assigned, I guess.
Which branch ka, basta it's the same.
So pareha ra gyud mog sweldo. Unsa may ang rational anang lahi ka og sweldo kung naka sa highly urbanized area is really because ang cost of living ra gyud na, di ba? More gyud na, di ba?
It's more expensive in industrialized cities
But
compared to provinces.
Again,
So
an argument can be made nga karon because we are so interconnected, intertwined, ang ato ang presyo sa paraliton pari-pareha ra gyud. Ang hisgutan nato ganiya katong gasolina, katong bugas, di ba? Kanang presyo sa isda siguro, presyo sa palaliton ba pari-pareha ra gyud na siya. In fact, again, an argument can be made nga kung mas layo ang lugar, mas mahal na
mas
yun.
expensive.
Kay cost to transport goods is higher. May buntag ni bida Roy Mitchell Alforque, si Mitch.
Hi.
Daghang salamat,
Top
Mitch.
of the morning. Thank you for
so
joining
much for
us.
joining us. Maybe you can pitch in.
Yeah, let us know your insights.
How do you feel about it? Ingon si Jim, nga you're gonna be a great lawyer kuno Justino. Mao lagi.
This is why I love my uncle. This is why we're related, Jiggy, because we always hype family up. I think.
Of course.
Ana gid na basta
that-
family
that's
bias.
what-
Naman bias ba?
That's what
It's a
family
bias.
is for, right?
Uncle Jim, you're biased.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of Uncle Jim, we'll wait for updates because I'm excited for him to release his music. No, I think on YouTube or other platforms. I'm
Yeah.
gonna call-it you on that, Uncle. Kaya I wanna be able to talk about it soon. So earlier I mentioned the ECOP, Jiggy, no, kaning Employers Confederation of the Philippines.
Yeah.
And it's the biggest. What is this? It's the it mentions now. Di ba kanina ingin siya nga. They foresee that it's gonna have a negative impact on the informal sector. So mga market vendors, fisher folk,
Okay.
farmers, and the like, which accounts for 84% of the economy. So according to Philstar Global, in a telephone interview yesterday, the president of the ECOP Sergio Ortiz Luis Jr. said that legislating an increase of 200 pesos in the daily minimum wage of private sector workers would be counterproductive.
Okay.
He says, according to him, he quotes, and I quote, "It sounds good, but in reality, it will just benefit a few," noting that many workers belong to the informal sector.
Okay.
So, kaning increase mo good is just for the private sector.
Mhm.
So, then he explained the proposal could have negative consequences on the economy, as many micro and small enterprises making up the bulk of the country's registered businesses would find it difficult to implement a 200 peso increase in the minimum wage. So he says, whenever there's a wage hike, businesses think about where to get this. What companies do is either raise their prices or let go of people. He said, adding that when rice increases are implemented, it is the consumers who suffer. So, with the Philippines already having the highest minimum wage in Southeast Asia, I didn't even know that we had the highest minimum wage in Southeast Asia.
Really?
Yeah, apparently.
That's interesting.
The leader said that the proposal could also turn off investors looking at the Philippines for their expansion. He said that it would be best to leave the decision on wages to the regional wage boards where the government employers and workers are represented.
Mm.
So, we'll see. These are a lot of things that the president has to take in account, especially, or the Congress will have to take in account in the next adjournment, in the adjournment next week. So, daghan pa kay sila i-consider.
Pero tinuod man na siya gyud nga
Okay, the problem with that though, Jiggy, is that existing benefits and allowances might be reduced as a result of the pay increase. So there's a caveat to that. There's like a, what do you call that? Kanang trade-off ba? And so maglisod og apas ang mga, it's only applicable according to the ECOP president. It's only maka-benefit na daw ni sa private sectors. Pero the one that takes the bulk of the economy, the majority, ang kaning 84%, kaning mga vendors nato, kaning mga supermarket, kanang farmers, and the like, they'll have a hard time keeping that up of implementing a 200 peso increase sa ilang mga employees.
Pero nagnihibong ko ba, naglibo ko nga nung gi-mention ng farmers diya.
It's part of the informal sector.
No, but kanang mga farmers good lahim gud ang kasabutan nila kadaghanan na nila is that na sila kasabutan sa ilahang landowners. Sa ilahang mga sindero ba kay may tabuan na is na sila cut from
How much
from
they,
the yield.
yeah.
Dili man na sweldo siguro ila kadaghanan na dili man na sweldo ila.
Maybe, depends on the agreement siguro. I don't know.
Di ba akong pasabot ba is sa akong nahibaw-an at least kasi naman tayo gamay nga farm po, di ba? Naman tayo sharing sa mura og nag-alaga sa
Mo na
atong yuta.
maging nga hasyendero nga system.
Oo, nga I don't know if that's still true though. Because it was still true the last time I did some farming. During the pandemic.
yeah.
Nag-farming ko.
Farming?
Sus, mag-farmer na lang ko ani uy. Kay wa.
Uy, dili na sad music. You know,
Nga naman.
my mom, she's even planning on letting me and my siblings join mga workshops
Mag-farmer na
sa
lang mo?
government.
Oh.
Yeah, because
Oh.
if you know how to grow your own food.
Nag-unsa naman to sa Justin nga ga professor man to siya pag human ga abogado, nag-unsa man siya. Nag-farmer na lang.
Uy, dili na lang.
Adi lagi mo lagi.
Really good na lang.
Dili
I wish I had a green thumb. I wish I knew. I mean, I can't even grow munggos. Mamatay ra gyapon siya in a couple of days. So
Okay.
that's one thing that I really want to learn, and one thing that my mom has been talking about for a while. Like, what if
Okay.
we learn to grow our own food and
Yeah.
like kanang kabaw ka mo ano sa mga baboy and stuff like that. Okay, you know, worst comes to worst, and we've seen it in the pandemic. People like Jiggy survive because they have their own. You know, they don't have to worry so much about where they're gonna get produce because nag-grow naman kay imong own.
Yeah, but kana siya romantic itanawon.
Oh,
Mura ba like
it's easier said than done.
in your head ba like cuz I actually did that, right? And then
How was it?
lisod ka istaran kay
Do you have a black thumb?
mumata ka og sayo, right? Unya complicated kayo kaya I was growing cucumber ba. Cucumber bitaw one of my main crops. Unya pag human kung mag-uwan mura og madaot ang dahon, mura sig mo ringkol ang dahon ba sa imong ayuhon or
What do you do?
imong trapuhan o imong itaktak ang dahon kay may tabuan na kung maringkol ang dahon dili na kay siya maka-absorb og proper sunlight dili siya maayo og
Becomes
yield.
too damp niya,
Oo.
too malata
Oo,
siya,
so
lata.
daghan kay mga factors ba. In fact kanang cucumber bati siya og tubo kung ting-uwan. But isig tubot kung tinguan ana ba niya
So it depends on the season.
napay pests, mga
Oh, yeah.
insects, right?
Ah.
Unya napay kaning ang cost sa mga vegetables sa merkado very volatile. Okay, for example, I'll give you an example nag-deliver na ko og usa ka pick up nga cucumber. Yan, murag nagkasinabot na sa presyo nga tag pila tong kilo ato nakalimot na ko. Anyway, all of a sudden ay maabot nga usa ka barko gikan sa Bohol nga cucumber.
Yeah.
Ang presyo mo ubos lang galit. Ya ikaw nga nag-expect na ka nga
Small-
mo na ning presyo
Yeah,
nimo.
yeah.
Baghuman all of a sudden gihansakan ka og usa ka barko nga parehas sa imong produkto. In my case cucumber, amo dive yun ang presyo.
Yeah.
So volatile kay tanan, so lisod gayo. So muna akong pasabot nga I think kanang farming ang dili na siya sweldo. Kuha na siya profit sharing na siya, but I could be wrong. Maybe the practice is only in my neck of the woods. Maybe sa ubang lugar basig naagyo na siya
Lahi na sila.
sweldo
oo.
yun. Yeah.
So that's why you're wondering why farmers would be mentioned in this informal sector nga greatly affected by this wage hike. That's-
Ang atong takna karon alas 11 na. We're talking about the wage hike across the board 200 peso increase nga napas na unya paghuman kuha na lang ni siya signature na like ko ang ani Dustin o sige sutin mo ganiya.
Third reading sa
Third read-
Congress
okay.
adjournment next week.
So dagan
So
lagi
i-review pag siya for the last time.
nag-ingon sila gali nga daghan man kayong mga congressman, mga senador nga mga business owners mismo sila ba.
Yeah.
So kung magnaslay negosyo niya di sila ganahan nga maepektuhan ilang negosyo basig dili gyud sila ganahan mo sign ani nga wage increase, di ba?
Pero in the education sector, daghan og mga groups like the Teachers Dignity Coalition, they're excited for this, and it kaya mo prioritize daw siya.
But you know what? You know what, Justin? Ang ato ang mga public school teachers, ato ang mga public workers ba, mga public nurses, ang sweldo nato mas dako pa sa private sector. I think the government has made a true effort to improve the lives of the Filipinos. In fact, nakadungog ko, correct me if I'm wrong, please, especially kung naa ka sa medical industry. Nakadungog ko kung
Yeah.
public nurse ka, imong sweldo dako-dako.
compared to
Kung
private
nurse
hospitals?
ka, private hospital. Kay basta kay nakadungog ko
I
imong
didn't know
starting 35, 40 na bitaw dako na siya ba. Ang mga maestra gyud dako jud kay sweldo ng mga maestra.
In
Public sector
In public sector,
sa public
yeah, that's true.
public government teachers ba.
yeah, but I've had a lot of I've met a lot of other educators from the public sector that moved. I've known some teachers from public sector ni move private,
Nga
and
naman.
then the other way around also.
Okay.
The issue said daw, although dako silang sweldo sa public, is that sometimes a lot of the stuff there are a lot of things that are not provided to them by the school. So one of the issues is even for the supplies of the students.
Oh, okay.
Most of the time, ang mga teachers ang mo supply ana.
Unsa for example?
So
papel, unsa man?
shout out to my relatives in Burawin Leyte. They're public school teachers.
Okay, unsa man? What do you mean the
So
supplies?
even
What-
paper coloring materials
why do you
for their
need-
students.
Why do you need those?
It's not for instructional materials for their student for assessments. So they're not even paper most of the time for public schools. It's not required. It's not
Dili ba sa ato ang eskwelahan naanda kita may magda sa papel, di ba?
not really. No, the private schools most of the time they would be providing for their students mga ingana.
No ba? What I mean ba is, di ba, mo palit
No,
mo
but for test-
intermediate paper, di ba?
Yeah, no, but for test materials, test papers, gyapon. When the teachers
Ah,
print out,
ma-examine?
they don't ask man from the students nga, give me the paper so I can print out your test paper.
Ah, okay.
Diba the all materials
papers,
for
oh.
assessment.
Pwede lang, oral na lang. Oral exam.
Oral na lang
what,
para
what I mean ba? The
walay
question,
lisod.
write down this question, di ba? What is the meaning of life? Number 1. Number 2, isuwat lang nilang kwan ba? Ang question ba, di ba?
Yeah, but to make it more efficient, especially for kanang mga major exams, major
okay,
examination, kana bitang like finals, pre-finals, and the like kanang mga quarterly exams, those need to be written man gyud na
Okay,
siya.
okay.
So for most of public school teachers, they have to provide their own paper, mainga na ba?
Okay.
So that's one thing.
Ang atong takna karon 3 minutos ang nilabay sa alas 11. You're listening to Top of the Morning. I'm your host. My name is Jiggy Juice.
And my name is Justine Arvios. Hi guys.
Mag-alisay ta sugbo. Ang atong programa karong buntaga, ang atong gisgutan just moments ago is the wage hike. Now let's move over to the next burning issue of today, ang ato ang sex abuse scandal sa Catholic Church.
Kana, dugay na. Oh my goodness.
Dugay naman na siya kayo, pero ni butho na po nga mga kaso gikan sa Visayas man siya. Can we get more information, Justin, about this matter? Ang ato ang child abuse scandal sa Catholic Church. Tell us all about it, please. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm looking at an article from Inquirer.net.
Okay.
So in Cebu City, 2 Catholic bishops in the Visayas have this isn't the news itself. It's just more like a perspective from people in the church in Cebu.
Okay.
So 2 Catholic bishops in Visayas have vowed to be transparent in dealing with priests accused of sexual abuse of minors who are either on administrative leave or cleared to return to the active ministry. So Cebu Archbishop Jose Palma and Bishop Gerardo Alminaza
Okay.
of the Diocese of San Carlos and Negros Occidental, in separate statements yesterday, acknowledged that there were priests under their supervision who were linked to the sexual abuse of children. So sa Visayas gini siya. Palma said 3 of the names recently mentioned by bishopaccountability.org.
Okay.
So apparently this is a United States-based sex abuse tracking group that the Philippines or kaning religious or kaning ang archbishop also looks into.
Okay.
Mentions that the rest were either dead or had been dismissed from the service.
Ang pare, namatay na pare Silvi.
Oh, according to those nga naa sa bishopaccountability.org.
Okay.
Pero the ones na were caught here are still, let's see, they're still either on administrative leave or cleared to return to active ministry. I think that's where the heat is coming from, Jiggy. Like, I think people are mad about what are the appropriate consequences ba that the church can impose on these priests after what they've done. So,
Okay.
here. So there are 3 priests who the Archbishop Palma did not name that he mentions have gone through required legal and canonical processes in the past, and according to civil and oh my god, this is a big word.
Ecclesiastical. Yeah.
Can you say it again? Sorry.
Ecclesiastical.
Wait, sorry.
Ecclesiastical.
Ecclesiastical. There. It's a tongue twister for me.
I know, right?
It's a tongue. Ecclesiastical.
Okay.
Sorry. Authorities fit. So then they're being under investigation, basically.
Okay.
And they're trying to gauge whether they're fit to continue guidance under supervision. So I think that's what makes people pissed. The fact that pabalik pa sila sa church ba? What is the church doing about it? How does it work? Di ba lahi man gyud ni ang the canonical or the ecclesiastical kanang processes, no?
Okay.
So let's see here,
Kani siyang sex abuse ba sa
Dugay na gina
sa
siya
church?
nga.
Dugay na kaya na siyang istorya, ha? Right? So, unsa man ni siya? Does it involve children? Does it involve adults?
Minors.
Mga bata, giday. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm finding the specifics on like what kind of abuse, like where exactly it happened.
Okay.
All I know so far is that there are 3 priests.
Naanay siya sa Visayas.
In Visayas.
Dili sa Cebu.
No, not Cebu.
Asa man sa Visayas.
I'm looking for that pa. Kaya the comments are from Archbishop Palma nga, taga Cebu, and si Bishop Gerardo Alminaza from Negros Occidental. So the statements are from Visayas also.
Okay.
So I'm looking into the info kung naunsa.
Diba, Justin, may ginatawag na to og mura bitog, I don't know what the legal term for this. Ay kami abogado between the two of
Patay.
us. Kana bitong kung naay kriminal, niya imuhang giprotektahan, you're just as guilty as the criminal. Is that what does the law say regarding that matter?
If na ay,
Nag-harbor ka og criminal ba, meaning to say nga, for example, na killer sa inyong balay, for example, onya paghuman ay mong gitaguan ang killer ba, meaning to say kung naay manuktok nimo na si killer diri, and so what about diri kay wa man
Jiggy, I feel pressured now because I remember I did learn this last semester, but
Okay.
I can't remember the specifics.
Murag, I think you're
Kanang
harboring a criminal. I think
it has to do with like the degree of kanang more involvement nimo sa crime. So
Di
even
wala
if
man kay labot gyud sa crime gyud. Wala man kay labot
depends
sa crime.
man if naa daw, like the things to take in account is if you had awareness of the crime be committed at the time it was committed.
Lahi
Or if you had awareness after,
nakibaw gyud ka.
before.
Nakibaw ka sa crime nga. Kibaw man ka nga killer ni siya. Kibaw man ka nga killer ni siya.
So you had in this example,
Oh.
if you had knowledge that the priest was gonna do
Yeah, unya pag human imuhang gitaguan, pasabot you're also just as guilty,
Yeah, I
right?
think it's called principal.
Yeah,
You're a principal. If I'm Uncle Jim, help me out. Tell me if I'm saying it right. But I think it has to do with like you're a principal to the crime.
Okay,
So
but
Or
let's
saan
not
na
talk
siya?
about it from a legal perspective lang. From a moral perspective lang, for example. Unsa may tan-aw nimo Justin, migo magid mo ni Lord kani nga
patay.
kung naay criminal diha nga imong taguan, unsa man na siya? Is that moral? Is that correct? Nga dili nato makorhian ang ill sa society, for example. Unsa man na siya
So
tan-aw nimo?
like based on my personal opinion lang, if
Kani
you have
Lord,
knowledge of
supportan na si Lord ni ana.
when it comes to morality, I'm a firm believer of like being a bystander of someone or like standing by in the presence of someone doing something wrong
Okay.
is tolerating that wrong
Yeah.
and it is wrong.
Okay.
So then if you had knowledge that someone was doing something like an act like this and you're involved in keeping their secret, then it's wrong. It makes it's wrong. So even for me, like
In the eyes of the Lord, you mean?
in my personal opinion of like morality, what I feel, because even in the most basic instances of
No,
like
for example,
keeping a secret
daghan mo
of-
kayong mga tinudluan sa Bible nga kung what if then ingon si killer nga this promise na jud ko mamatay. I'm never gonna kill again. I'm a changed man,
person.
right? So mura siya nagpakita siya nga kaning nagrepent na siya ba? Nangumpisal na siya, kumpisal na nimo siya og pare. So kato siya changed man na to siya. So
then would it be okay that wala ka ni
unsa may pananaw ana sa balaod, unsa may pananaw ana sa imong moralidad, sa imong Ginoo, for example. Karang inana nga dapita diya, Justin, kay di ba forgiveness mo gina ang gitudlo sa
Catholic
sa
Church.
Biblia, di ba?
Yeah.
So kung ingon siya nga di promise di na jud ko mamatay kaning I'm a changed man. I've already asked forgiveness. I'm adto nimo si Father Kuan, Father Narbios nga ipakumpisal.
Tanan.
So kumpis ko tanan he's done.
Well, in terms of forgiveness,
Kana unsa may tan-aw nimo ana?
In
Nga,
terms
kung
of-
gitago nimo siya, nya nay nanuktok nay killer diha, ingon di ka nga wa man police, wala may killer diri. Na ako'y former killer diri pero kanang nangayo naman siya og pasaylo. Naon nimo? Unsaon man nimo?
well, as far as forgiveness goes, so man gid tay labot ang Ginoo ra man gid. So we can't really say bisag unsa nimo pag-umpisal. It could be even nga wala siya nag-umpisal pero forgiven na siya.
Di,
So
imo mang
that's
ginanan og Father Narvios, imo mang nakakita man jud sa imong duha ka mga mata nga nangumpisal siya ni Father Narvios. Nangutana kay
Yeah.
Father Narvios gali,
So if the
Father
ques-
Narvios.
so if the
kani
question
unsa
is-
may kumpisal niya? Kadto ko nun gipatay niya si Kuan, si Procopio ana.
on my own opinion, if the question is he forgiven or not for that sin, kay di ba sa Catholic point of view, I have no idea kay ang Ginoo ra gyud makabaw-an if forgiven siya or not.
Di,
Pero if the question is kung naabsuelto ba na siya sa iyahang gibuhat because nagumpisal siya, I would say no, because as far as like the law is concerned, you commit a crime against a state, you commit a crime against a person, you should be held liable. You should be
No, but ang tenets magud sa Bible good is mangayo ra magpasaylo, di ba?
Yeah, but
Mangayo ra magpasaylo, di ba?
Yeah, but
katong
the-
sa cross, di ba? Katong sa cross nga ingon siya nga katong kriminal tapad niya
Just ask for forgiveness.
teachable moment ato niya nga ang pasabot ato is kung basta mangayo lang kag pasaylo basig unsay gibuhat nimo mangayo lang kag pasaylo ma-forgive na kaniya. So asa mi mo hold more weight nimo kanang tinudluan sa Biblia or ang balaod sa yuta law of the land, asa man kay mas bugat para nimo ana?
I think in this case, the law of the land.
Okay.
Really.
Nganong ni pabor man ka sa law of the land in dapita ka tan-aw nimo Justin?
I feel like the way the laws are drafted, they serve a deeper purpose than that which is
Really?
just
Okay.
kanang murag philosophical, moral, or religious in nature. And that's why I think there should be a separation of the church and the state also.
Okay.
This is where the pickle, like, this is where naglisod gid sila, because this is an issue sa church pag yun. So then we're looking into like, okay, can we determine the appropriate consequence for what they did based on like the fact na they're changed because they've asked for forgiveness, they've done this and that. Pero kana nga example mo gihatag kung kani nga person nagumpisal na padada na si Father Narvios, tanan, then I'm harboring that person in my house, and then the police come and look for that person. It's easier said than done. I know it would be like, oh, I'm gonna just turn them in. It's so easy to say it, right? But like, there's this really big voice in the back of my head that's telling me that the right thing to do, not that I would do it or anything, just if I was asked what's the right thing to do, so turn them over, because I trust the legal process. I trust that that person deserves to be tried. So, okay, you can't just get away with what you did against the state or against a person because you asked for forgiveness. Despite my beliefs of spirituality and religion, I would still feel like you can't escape the law. So you have to go through the process. And kung maabsuelto man gani na maawa na imong criminal liability, na magyapon na civil liability, you still there are damages that you need to account for what you've done. So yeah, I think that's the problem.
Not to mention, Justin, nga ikaw sa liable sa gana.
Kana.
Di ba?
Yeah, for keeping that person.
Liable,
I feel like
liable ka na basig maamong na inong kana inoon kung for example naay criminal nga nasud sa imong balay, paghuman imong gitago-taguan basig mapriso sa gapil, di ba?
For
Diba?
sure, actually,
Diba?
for sure. Not that that's not to be selfish ka maghunahuna lang ka sa imong self, pero sa tinuod, yeah, because you're involved in that man, kay imong gitago-tago, which makes everything worse for me. So I would rather come clean and encourage that criminal, my friend or whoever that is. Nga, you know what? I think
So ngano ka
we would need to come
nga
clean.
kanang this is not the first time that this has happened, right?
I've heard about news like this since bata pa gid ko.
Gitago gid nila ba? Nga in fact murag i-reassign naman to nila ang mga uban nga mga pari.
You know what? That's also one thing.
Nganong-
For
nganong-
most people, I
nganong
think
dili man nila ikuan i-turn in na lang, for example na kay hibaw-an nimo nga kay pari sa imong congregation nga nagbabadlong,
You know,
for example, so i-report lang
yeah,
nila
bitaw, no?
ano man
You know what?
nganong gitago-taguan man na nila.
I think that's where the heat is coming from. Kaya people would think nga ihatag na siya diretso sa legal authorities. Pero I think manggod sa ecclesiastical and sa canonical realm,
Okay.
they have their own processes, they have their own legal processes and investigation, which because there's a separation between church and state. So I think the church feels like ako maning tao, ako maning kaning mga the priests are under my supervision, under me. So we're gonna do our own investigation first. And so that's why people are pissed, I think, because of the fact na there's a possibility for them to be reassigned or transferred under a different supervision. So murag, it becomes like a
galibog ko, Justin. So niingon ka nga ang simbahan na as like galingon nga proseso, di ba?
yeah.
Ang proseso gud na, Justin, di ba? Ang atong nahibawan lang
Report.
is na kaysa mangumpisal ka. Yeah, paghuman kung tulo ka Our Father, tulo ka Hail Mary, absoluto
Tulo ka
na
Glory
kasamusa, di ba? Mo na ang atong nahibawan as outsiders, di ba? Pero kung pasabot nimo nga proseso, unsa man nga proseso nga naay huwis pod sa ilahang simbahan, napoy investigasyon, mo na imong pasabot. Unya, kung for example, maingon ko nga ato lang dugay-dugayon para yung katiguang mamatay lang ni siya, wagi mahimo, di ba? Unsa so naagitay unta tunay supervision ang gobyerno sa proseso nila. Dili mahimo nga sila ra kay kung sila ra mo ba
exactly.
pwede ra augman lang
So
na
anyone who's a priest or anyone who's in the religious sector can just do anything. It becomes like a scapegoat or an excuse to break the law. Kay
or
separate man sila.
o dili sa kung tinuod na gyud nga ilang giimbestigar ang mga pari nga nakahikap o nakhilabot sa mga bata, then ang mahitabuan na is na ay mo supervise nga gobyerno from the government kay kibaw ka ano pwede ra man na ilang i-delay pwede ra man nila lang na maluoy mo sa ni Father Father Procopio kay kani
Procopio. Procopio.
and so on and so forth, diba?
Yeah.
So posible kayo nga deliberately ilang i-delay until why mahitabo, diba?
Yeah, I'm gonna look into that. involvement sa government aning a case. Right now, the statements that have been released are from members of the clergy man gyud. So they're under ecclesiastical review.
Can you just not say that word anymore?
It pops up in every article. I can't ignore it, good.
Okay, sige, fine. All right.
I'll just say e-review na lang.
E-review,
E-review
okay.
ha. So
Okay, okay.
it means that ecclesiastical. Mao na siya. They're under review daw.
So na ako nabasahan diri sa Sunstar Cebu, at least 9 priests affiliated with the Archdiocese of Cebu
9?
are among the 82 accused of sexually abusing, according to a report by US-based watchdog bishopaccountability.org. So taga Cebu din ni ang 9 kabo. Okay ba ka, Justin? I'll tell you a little, this is not a secret, this is a well-known fact. Ako atong una, kaning
Hapit na ka na pari.
aside from that, kuan ko kaning kasi tawag gani sa nang mga helper bitaw sa simbahan bitaw.
Sa Kristan.
Sa Kristan ko atong una. Unya kada first Friday usahay mag-rotate me. Ako nang mo ting mo bagting bitaw kanang mo bitaw
Mo ring sa
padong na
ano?
kalawat bitaw unsa na kanang sa tawag na Justin kanang ano ba? Diba no?
Kanang mo ano sa mass.
Na incense
incense,
saysan ako say mo kuan sa
Kana mangyan
ako sa
sige ba?
magpaaso sa incense, di ba?
Oh, kana mangyan na ba? I heard they're very disciplined. You guys have to wake up early for that. Then hindi ka pwede magbuot-buot. Kung i-schedule ka na nga day, then you gotta, there's a process for
Dito
everything.
ka na. So,
Wow.
paghuman, madomingo sa dosahay, mag-choir mi sa simbahan, na ay marag elevation nga opposite side sa altar, unya magkanta-kanta mi dito mga church hymns dito. Unya ighuman na pasnakon mi sa pari. Pasnakon mi
What's
sa
man
pari.
yung mga snack?
Awara gud ka na pandesal ragog soft drinks gud mga inana ragod mga Spanish kaning Spanish bread ano
Bread.
bitaw. Unya usahay maglaglaag mi, magsuri-suri mi
Asa man?
sa kumbinto. Sa convent ba?
Okay.
Magsud mi sa ubang nga room ba nga naay kanang red sila kanang purple line bitaw nga dili no entry wa mo kibaw na ka nga mga
okay.
batan-on gud nga badlungon kay tanan.
So unsa man na siya nga mga rooms like mga
mga room sa pari ba?
that's their private spaces.
Oh,
Good.
convent
Okay,
man.
living spaces.
Convent
Okay.
gud niya paghuman.
Anya.
O sa amin nami makitaan nga kaning beer. Ano bitaw?
Really?
Ay beer o sahay kaning naay mga movies nga kaning mga R-rated ano bitaw? Kanang mga worldly things ba? I'm not gonna mention the
That's
church
funny.
and all of that
That's
stuff,
funny.
right? But naay mga inana ba? Nakoy makitaan nga
Really?
inana bitaw. So but
So it's real. So
to
that's
be
just,
fair,
they're
to be fair,
We're all human.
I would like to believe nga murag I'm a good-looking child. Wa magi hilabti gyud noon. Or basig na insultuhin ko nga wa ko hilabti da.
Marag Jige, you should be grateful in this case.
Just kidding. But what I'm saying is, wa ako naka-experience ana. Wala ko nakita na. I'm
So you've not
thankful.
seen that
I did not
way
see that
darker
happen
side. Yeah.
in my experience with the church, right? With the Catholic Church. Pero kaning ako madunggan nga murag grabe kay tanan. Gaduda ko sa probinsya siguro nisa. Kani siguro yung mga kanang mga dili, maybe they can't do it here in the city kay mga tao diri ato mga batan-on diri kanang grabe kaayo ka aware ba of their rights ba. Posible na sa probinsya siguro na
Yeah,
sa.
for sure. And it's sad because a lot of people that turn to the church, Mango, a lot of people that devote their lives to Christ, are those who not necessarily that they don't have any other choice, right? It's always a choice. It's a
Okay.
beautiful choice to make.
Okay.
Pero given their circumstances, that would also help them. No? For example, a lot of orphans who grew up without parents or guardians, it would be very fitting for them, and it's a beautiful choice for them to serve the church. Kaya ang priest na ang mo supervise nilang, teach them everything they need to know, raise them basically, right? So it's sad but that they entrust their lives, or families entrust the lives of their children to mga ingani, to mga, what do they call, Jiggy, where you put convent?
Convent, oh.
Sa convent.
Morang balay sa mga pare, you mean?
Yeah, like so sa convent ibutang ba niya? That's what's happening behind the scenes. I feel like since I was a kid, there's always been like current events news on this. Like mga articles ana. Pero I didn't really expect. I was hoping that now in 2024 with the level of awareness people have with like rights and all that, and how, you know, I feel like the church, I'm sure that they've had kanang they've been educated on that side ba, on the kanang consequences of when they commit something like this. But until now, naagyapon day na, no? It's still existing. It's crazy. So I'm looking into details. What's coming out lang good now is it's always like the US katong imong giingon nga watchdog website, or I don't know what it is. It's a website or it's an organization abroad that keeps track of the mga abuses.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing that they know our dirt. Like they know nga natay mangyana.
Kay kuan man good.
Yeah, this is what makes people pissed also. At least 7 of the accused priests continue to serve in parishes across the Asian island nation. Some recently as last month, according to the co-director of bishopaccountability.org. She told journalists the Philippine bishops have a deep sense of entitlement in withholding information on the abuse of the priests of the diocese. Hala! So for kaning bishopaccountability.org co-director Anne Barrett Doyle to make this comment, good ha? For her to say that the Philippine bishops have a deep sense of entitlement in withholding information, that doesn't look too good.
Why do they have that quote-unquote entitlement?
Well, for her to comment that, like, oh no.
Ang pinaka-importante yun nga lugar ani niya is what we need to discuss. Unsa may check and balance ana nila kay kung niingon ka nga nasa ka ugulingon nga proseso, unsa man nga proseso ha?
Yeah.
Unya kinanglan privy sa dana, kibaw sa dana unsa na ilang proseso. Kay kung hunanaon gyud nimo ang buhaton na gyud sa pare gyud, ang buhaton na gyud sa tao, mangayo ra gyud pasaylo. Mao ra gyud na say buhaton gyud, di ba? Kung hunanaon nimo ba? Kung imuhang studyuhan gyud ang Biblia, mangayo ra kag pasaylo, okay na ka, gawas na ka. But kung nasa lay proseso, unsa man nga proseso? Unsa man kinsa may involved na niya? Is it just among priests or naay represented from secular society? Naay dili parte sa simbahan, di ba? Unsa man ni siya?
Yeah. So I think that's what karon si Doyle, she also mentions here, she quote, and I quote, "These are men who fear nothing." So
Because they are with
they're
with God. Diba?
They're backed up, man. Bishop accountability.
Kasabot ka mona akong pasabot da Justin nga kung naagali kay pagtuo nga lawom kaayos tanan nga ang walay maka-supersede ana niya because you believe and that's the absolute and total truth. So kung nagtuo ni sila nga ilang mga ilahang mga pag-abuse sa mga bata, mapasaylo ra sa kung sincero sila magpasaylo, then
they're off the hook.
Yeah, they feel like they're off the hook, right?
So you mentioned what are the what's the process bang gid ay
Yeah, unsa may proseso na?
So, well, according to bishopaccountability.org, they commented that the external mechanisms that have forced accountability on the Catholic bishops elsewhere, meaning ang litigation by the victims, ang probes of the church entities by prosecutors, the inquiries from the government commissions, and all the substantial investigations by local news media have occurred little or not at all in the world's third largest Catholic country. So even kaning bishopaccountability.org is kanang stating ba nga kulang gyud ang involvement or kulang ang kaning mga investigation. That's certain aspect of the process that we're looking for. Because the fact nga these priests are still allowed to serve and are reassigned lang to different locations is already enough to say nga it seems unjust ba.
You know what? What perplexes me, what boggles my mind is this. Kani mga istorya dugay na kay nistanan, di ba? This has been going on for years. Unya, di ko kasabot nga nung gipadayon gyapon nila. Kasabot ka, kana bitong daghan naman kayo ng hibaw-an ng mga pari nga gitaguan nila ilahang mga. In fact, kato si Pope Ratzinger, one of the reasons why he stepped down because he felt like he was complicit nga gitaguan niya ang mga pari nga nag-sex na mga crimes of sex abuse ba, child abuse ba.
He didn't want no part of that. He didn't want to be a kanang involved in that or
Okay.
involved in the
No,
hiding thereof.
He was involved in it. That's why ni-retire siya.
Name, what's the name?
Si Pope ba? Si Pope Ratzinger before this Pope. Remember that he was the first ever Pope who stepped down?
Okay, I have no knowledge
Oh,
on that. Before
okay.
Pope Francis?
Yeah. There was actually a Pope who stepped down. Anyway, point is nga moto ang mga hungong-ihong, moto ang allegedly one of the reasons why he stepped down. So of course, those are just rumors, right? Pero there's a huge possibility that there's some truth to that. But mo lagi, that was just an example ba. So akong basabot nga naman nga grabe na kaini siya, the spotlight is on this particular matter nga abuse in church, the Catholic Church in particular, ni gapadayon lang gyud sila tago og di ko kasabot unsa ka maybe
Well, what's taking, like, what's the hold up ba?
ngano man nga they're still emboldened
Yeah.
to hide these earring priests ba nga unsa ni 90 ka buok anya 8 ka buok naa sa Cebu
82
82 ka buok nya naa sa
Yeah.
Cebu ang 8 ani
Ang 9.
9 ani
Yeah.
so
So karon ang ingon ang bishop kaning Cardinal Pablo Virgilio, the bishop of the Diocese of Caloocan and the president of the Philippine Bishops Conference.
Okay.
He mentioned mangod na our mandate from Rome is to take the issue of accountability very seriously, especially those related to alleged abuse cases involving priests. Pero kani individual bishops have authority over the accused priests. As a conference of bishops, we merely build a consensus among ourselves about common policies to be adopted. Only Rome, represented by the nuncio, has direct disciplinary authority over individual bishops. So, as we can see, Jiggy, there's this ilang system na apod na hierarchy, no? So, each of these priests are under specific bishops that are receiving the heat. Karon, the bishops or the head of the Philippine Bishops Conference is stating na nga, as a conference of bishops, all we can do is come together and discuss unsay mga rules. Kaya it's only Rome, represented by the nuncio, that has direct disciplinary authority. I don't know if that helps a lot, no? I mean, I'm glad that the bishops are very transparent about the process. I mean, in this way, mentioning it's only Rome, but it does, in another perspective, you could see it as like, naghugas og kamay ba? Like, so what? We're just gonna wait for Rome to enact disciplinary action? Is that what they're saying?
I guess I don't know.
Because that's literally what his statement is. Only Rome, represented by the nuncio, has direct disciplinary authority over individual bishops. And then each bishop is assigned, or the priests are under certain bishops.
So posible pod nga ilang gi-report o niya wala aksyon ni, or posible pod nga wa gyud nila gi-report, di ba?
Or-
Naapoy puruhan, so gi-report na nila sa
Gi-report,
papal nuncio.
I think it's reported because even kaning bishops katong .org thing, they have data on that mangyud.
So wala action, wala action.
So there's data. There's data of that. And there's already so the complaint, more basically na complaint filed. And they know where these priests are situated. They know what is the status of each of these priests. Some of them, the 82 are already dead. But there are a lot of them that are still serving in church. So karon ingon ang kaning head of the bishops organization, na it's only Rome who has power to take disciplinary action over the bishops. But then again, the bishops mangod are the heads also who, if I'm not mistaken, if maybe there are people in the religious sector who can help us out. I'm only learning about a lot of this now.
No, the bishops are like the heads of a unit of
Priests.
Of priests, right? So ang power sa papal nuncio is just amongst bishops, right? Kay murag para dili kayo complicated, siguro dili kay daghang report nila, di ba? So kan ang bishops, ang power nila, ang ilang mga ang congregation, ang mga pare, di ba? Correct? So ang pasabot nimo, ang bishop may or may not report what is going on the ground.
I think
Kung dili sila mo-report,
No,
then
kay-
wag yung may tabo, di
that's
ba?
a problem kay kaning bishopaccountability.org, literally bishopaccountability.org has stats, has data on that. So I think they're bound to, they have reported. Kaya naman gini sila data kaning 82 priests and brothers from the Philippines. What makes them pissed is that the vice president aning organization says nga at least 7 of these priests continue to serve. So ang question ba ngano gipa-continue na sila? So Yeah. You know, we should invite. This is just very timely lang good, but we should invite someone from the religious sector to
Yeah.
help us.
You know what? You know,
To help us talk about this.
I'm thinking about this right now, bang. Ano na ako na ganyan, Justin, nga kani sila. Naan sa simbahan. Close kay sila sa langit. Mora sila ngano man nga sila pa of all people, di ba? Nga mas close sila sa langit,
I think it.
di ba? Kay mo man na, di ba?
It really doesn't-
Mo man ay concept anang pari, di ba? Nga mura og
Murag mediator kuno hay
mura og
between-
the representative
You're right.
of
right.
the Lord, right? So
Yeah, to help fulfill his practices.
So grabe kay siya og kaning naa siya murag kung sa telepono pa na ba naa siya kanang sana speed dial bitaw sa simbahan, di ba? Sa
That's
Ginoo
funny.
sa and theoretically but that's what
Theoretically, it's
that's,
because they have-
that's what it means, di ba?
Yeah.
Nga ngano kung pari imong pasayloon sa imong sago, di ba?
Yeah, yeah.
Ano man nga mo ditso lang kason mo na silang
They have knowledge of the.
spokesperson. So
Ah.
they're close to so much goodness, di ba? Kanang usahay kanang tao usually di ba namin nurture and nature and nurture, di ba? Part of the person's personality is from his environment. Kung you're surrounded by goodness, you're surrounded by holiness, you're surrounded by because you're inside you're inside a frigging church, right? So mas layo unta ka sa mga ngilad nga mga buhat kumpara sa ordinaryo nga tao nga surrounded by
aside from-
worldly things, di ba?
Yeah.
So huno na ara guna kani sila surrounded by holiness sila makabuhat pa sila og ngilad nga mga butang. Unsa na
Kato mga-
mga tao nga surrounded by a lot of suffering and evil, right?
I think aside from environment
Yeah.
being surrounded, no, it has to do with the amount of kanang knowledge imparted to them. Literally, a huge chunk, more than half of their day is learning about those practices, learning and being exposed to not just people, kanang environment, physical environment, but being having access and resources to kanang the truth, bali, the holy truth, the sacred truth.
Yeah.
So
So nga
come to
naman,
think that they learn,
So,
they learn about that every day. They practice it.
So lagi ba? Ako basabot ba?
Yeah.
So kita na kang ordinaryo nga tao.
Unsa na lang
nga,
kata.
nga wala man kay try access ana, di ba? Nga dili wala man ko inani.
Aba matindi!
Wala man ko inani nga feeling. Ano na ra ko akong nagpuyo ko kaning simbahan, Justin. Inigawas na ko sa ako ang kumbinto eh. Kung feeling na ko murag di ba? Kakuan ka?
Yeah,
Pag human makabuhat mas laging yun ani, di ba? Ang ako ang suspitsya ani Justin is this. Number one,
Suspitsa.
I think nga na ay daghan nga this is just a theory, okay?
Okay.
Na ay daghan ng mga pedophile or na ay mga daghan nga mga tao nga ang ilahang gibuhat is moadto sila sa mga lugar nga daghan sila og mabiktima, right? So possibly nga na ay mga pedophile nga mo get into priesthood or get into becoming a priest, right? Possibly na. Number one, that's a theory, ha? And
true.
number two, this is another theory. I'm not a scientist, right? Kato siya psychologist to siya nga discipline may bawaan na to niya kung tinuod ba ni kaning science at possibly po. I don't know if there's any study behind this. I think I remember screaming this in one of our drunken moments years ago. Ingon ko, there has to be something has to snap if you are vowed celibacy. Something has to happen to the person if you're not allowed to have sex. You know what I mean? Something probably happens. So that's just another theory. They I don't know. I don't know what happens to somebody who
vows for celibacy.
whose natural urges and tendencies are being stopped because of priesthood. For example, wa ko kabaw unsay may tabo sa tao nga dili siya mo buhat sa mga butang nga
It's naturally-
mabuhat sa mga normal nga mga dili pari. Ano bitaw? Unsa
Oh,
kuno?
si Alexa.
Alexa? Anyway, so yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
What was your first point?
Nga posible nga kung
katong murag.
na kay mga urges nga murag mahuga og
Murag ano siya.
pedophile ka.
Yeah.
So diri ko sa simbahan kay daghan
Yeah.
kayog mga biktima.
You know what?
Ana?
there are a lot of studies man gyud ana sa psychology that prove kanang mga personality defects or people who have difficult, just to umbrella term it, difficult personalities nga to not only to cope, that sometimes they get into industries wherein ma-empower sila og magrabihan ilahang
Access.
difficulty, or I mean magrabihan ilahang, I wouldn't say what's wrong with them, but magabihan ang kana nga part of them because they know man nga murag, like what you said, the world is full of bullies, and bullying doesn't only exist in childhood or when you're in schools. That's like a form of bullying even in adulthood nga murag man that you're placed in authority, you are a murag high ranking, not because there's so much empowerment placed on your position bitaw as someone close to God. So you feel very powerful. And these people, these children, literally from the fact that they're younger than you, the fact that they're minors, some of them come from impoverished backgrounds.
Impressionable and maybe even uneducated.
Uneducated, and then a lot of them also might not have kanang even the support of their families also. Nga, mao na ginasend na sila dito also. So murag feeling sa nila nga, I'm I can do whatever I want because no who's gonna stop me. I'm in charge here. Only God knows.
I got God, God's behind me.
God's behind
me.
You know what I mean? Who's gonna? Who will I answer to? God? I'm the one who talks to God.
In all intents and purposes, I am God.
Basin, no?
You know what I mean?
So kana nga, I can definitely see what you mean nga murag magrabihan ang kanang personality defect being a pedophile. And it's like all those kanang
mura kag adik-adik ba nga gibutang kag room nga puros daghang kag shabu, di ba?
Yeah.
Di ba? Ano na mo?
Ang kanang pedophilia, Jiggy, it's really a mental illness.
Yes, of course,
no?
yeah.
And so murag but with like everything, mental illnesses are also coupled with your personality. So if you're the type of person nga kanang you want to feed that illness because ang imong personality is kanang bully mentality, kanang no one's gonna stop me. No one's gonna stop me, then magabihan madayunan, you'll really get to do what you want. You really get to live out as a pedophile in that environment. So I wouldn't necessarily say it's the environment that allows the pedophile or the person with the personality defect to flourish. It's not the fact that nobody stops them. I think it's ang ilang innate good nga personality nga magsalig man sila na I'm in this position.
Plus, they have access to it lagi.
Plus,
diba?
They can get away with it.
Dool raman kayo nila. Like I was telling you earlier nga, it's akin to a drug addict. And daghang butangan mo sa karom nga puro shabu, diba? Ang magdili siya mo nanagod siya tendency good nga mo suyop. So
tendency is the word.
Nanagod siya tendency nga mo suyop niya. Tubangan nimo, sama man nimo, diba?
You know what? I'm interested said Baya on how the clergy do that pa, because I understand that they're
do what?
Kanang screening process of their
there has to be like a pedophile meter, right? Diba?
Yeah, it sounds funny, but for example, law enforcement, they're super strict about that. I only have basis sa US. I only have information on that.
Okay.
Now they go through intensive psychological training and tests that
grabe,
literally
would
break you.
Grabe ang sa Amerika gali kanang pedophilia gali sa mga pari gali, di ba?
Yeah.
Daghan
I'm talking about for law enforcement, right?
Okay.
Because they understand that people in law enforcement are kind of imbued by they're
protect
given
and serve guna sila, di ba?
protect and serve. Pero they're not too different from priests because priests are also protecting and serving.
So what are you saying? Wala kayo pedophile sa
No, I'm just saying
police?
that I
What do you
wish
mean?
that there was also a very crazy, rigorous process in screening priests when it comes to psychological evaluation.
But
Like,
how do you?
I know it sounds like it's far-fetched, diba?
You're a psychology graduate, right? Unsaon man yung pagkahibaw ana?
They need to put them through tests, good. You need to find. You need to have resources of real psychologists.
Butangan ni magbata tubangan nila. Leave them with a child for the entire day unsa man. Like,
No, they go through a series of tests.
kaya
Man.
possibly man you can hide that man good. Some people are very good at hiding their defects, right?
Yes, pero more or less mag-gauge mangyapon na if you go through
maybe
several.
there might be a test for pedophilia, like.
Not necessarily pedophilia. So
Now we're talking about pedophilia in particular here because this is the topic they're talking about. Kung hibong sa iyong istoryan karon buntaga mga kaigalan sa atong mag-anisay ta sugbo atong gisgutan karon buntaga is the sex abuse scandal in the Catholic Church, which is all over the headlines today. Go ahead.
Yeah, so kanang in terms of kanang psychological evaluation, that's why these tests are standardized, and it's not only coupled with literal tests that you take that you can fake.
Okay.
It's it also is coupled with they actually monitor your behavior over a
Period of
significant period of time. So it's rigorous and it's proper because they understand that when for law enforcement, for example, in the States, they understand that the mental kanang murag the what's that, fortitude sana ang word.
Mental fortitude.
Mental fortitude needed by someone that's imbued with
So
or
much power.
empowered. Okay, it needs to be at its best.
Mm.
So for me, it's the same thing for people in the religious sector. I know that there's a separation between law.
Pinamilitary nga grabe kayo.
Not
No, what I mean by rigor, but not what I mean by that is grabe yung rigor training sa military ni mention ka, di ba? So you want a kind of rigor but not in the physical sense, maybe in the psychological
Yes.
sense.
Yeah.
Maybe even the physical sense. Like I was telling you, I was envisioning ibutang siya og room nga puros mga bata. Taon to sa bato na niya.
Oh my God, Jiggy.
Right?
Hey, why not? If that's the way to find out.
Pero guilty
Hey,
guilty sa child abuse kung i-abuse nila sana to.
Himog experiment ba? Himog experiment paita.
So
But I'm just saying ba, I'm trying to I know it sounds far-fetched.
Yeah.
Some people might find it silly also.
Yeah.
And it is silly in a way.
Yeah.
Pero if we can empower people in law enforcement so much and because we see them as like people in authority and with the way that the Philippines, I don't know if it's just here, pero grabe sad kayong the way that we empower people in the clergy.
Yeah.
Like we really look up to priests,
Yeah.
we really look up to
Grabe-
people in the
grabe
clergy.
kayo.
They're
In fact,
valuable members of society.
Kibaw, you all know nga kaning simbahan tax-free man di ba? So ana na klase nga
That's how much they're valued.
respeto sa
Exactly.
gobyerno.
So
Right?
the screening for
Oh.
me should be as rigorous dapat. For me ba, kay I don't know. I don't think they have a psychological screening.
Yeah.
When you want to become a priest, you serve, you practice. I think there is probably like a guidance counseling.
ang
ano,
akong
but
pangutana lagi is masakpan ba ng pedophilia kung psychological training?
yeah, there are
Really?
tests. Yeah, there are tests for that.
Maybe they should then, right?
Not only pedophilia, other mental illnesses, depression,
Yeah.
which is very common, more common than pedophilia.
Kibaw ka, Justin, naabay is there an outward manifestation of pedophilia nga tanaw ni mo ang tao nga pedophile siya. Nakay na information regarding that matter?
I think it has to do with kanang ilang mga sexual because pedophilia is really a sexual orientation
Yeah,
towards
yeah,
ano. So it also would manifest in not of course in extreme levels at high. It's not that kay close kas bata pedophilia na rin ka. Pero more ka preference to that you're more comfortable
Lagi ba,
for
sa may
example.
manifestation na?
That I think one of the basic in the extreme level please correct me if I'm wrong, those who really have like the DSM-5 and all that is if they notice kanang that the person feels more empowered or confident with children rather than with adults.
More.
That's in an extreme sense, ha?
But that sounds very normal because I feel empowered when I'm with children because
No, but-
I'm more educated.
Exactly.
I've been around the world for a longer period of time.
But in
What
an
do you-
extreme sense, in an extreme sense.
Like what, for example? Like someone.
Like that's I'm looking at the most extreme sense. Like maybe perhaps one of the behaviors that we notice within pedophiles is that they would prefer to be or they feel more confident or more in themselves, like they have more belief in themselves when they're with children. Kaya mura man na sila ma-empower nga.
Pero di ba kung matanaw ka og tiguang nga maayo kay relasyon sa mga bata, di ba moingon mo
That's a
kang
good thing,
that's a good thing. So
supposedly.
he's very good with children, di ba? We even admire people who are very good with children, right? So basig ang manifestation ani Justin is maayo siya sa mga bata. So unsa may kangila na di ba? In fact,
Yeah.
that should be admired. Maayo kay sa mga maayo kay mo may istorya sa mga bata ni si Padre, paborito gini sa mga bata si Padre, di ba? Di ba?
Yeah.
So dili sa mahimong inana. Ang akong pangutan
Extremes, no?
ang akong pangutan na sunod, Justin, ba while you're digging up that topic ba,
Yeah.
is unsa man ang gisulti sa Biblia regarding pedophilia. Na wala man ko nakibaw sa sa commandments nga thou shall not abuse children. Na ba wala? Na ba na siya?
No, I think there is.
Na ba na siya? Murag wala man na siya sa atong Ten Commandments siguro. Mao lagi itong hisgot ni ko ani katong akong akong video nga nakitaan ba sa Monty Python nga Si Moses lagi kuno.
You know what? Jiggy?
Kinsi kabok na kuno ang kuan ang commandments kuno dato kuno.
Oh.
So pagikan sa bukid, di ba? Sa Mount Sinai ba to aso tong bukid?
Yeah, I think it's Mount
Oh,
Sinai.
so pagpadung niyag naog kuno Justin, natagak bitan ang usa. So napuo na lang kabuk, basig thou shall not touch children siguro ang
Is
uban.
appeal there.
Appeal ato unsa may gisulti sa ato ang relihiyon, sa atong 10 commandments nga atong ginadili nga buhaton sa ato ang sa kalibutan para malangit ta unsa man.
Yeah.
Appeal lang thou shall not touch children wala.
You know, there's actually this article from ResearchGate.
Okay.
A thesis ba nga from last year, December of last year.
Mm.
And it mentions that the Bible actually never even condemned homosexuality, but it condemned pedophilia.
Okay.
The papal revision and mandate of translations.
Papal revision gi-revise nilang ang Bible.
Yeah, this document apparently, the papal revision
Revise mo sa Bible.
and mandate of translations of the Bible
Okay.
in the 16th century by Pope Clement VII and Pope Paul V mentions that it strongly condemns pedophilia.
Kinsa may suta si James, si John, si
Let's see here.
Luke kinsa man. Atong takna karon 48 minutos nang nilabay sa alas 11. Atong gisgutan kada buntaga sa atong mga anisay ta sugbo is this ang child abuse scandal sa Catholic Church. Mo na atong gisgutan karong buntaga. I'm your host. My name is Jiggy Juice. Right across me is
Justine Arvios, hi guys.
and ang gahisgutan ta ani kay I think this is important and I think having a conversation about anything ever makes it a little bit digestible and perhaps even improve on it. Hopefully, we can be a force of change and make things a little bit better for everyone. So, unsa man
Yeah.
imong gi-research siya, Justin?
Yeah, even my phone is lagging now.
Okay.
Like it's there's no direct mention of pedophilia
Mo
in the
lagi. So,
Bible, but there are numerous biblical principles.
Basig ningon sila wala mo na sa 10 commandments. God.
Technically, no?
Wala man na okay ra man na god. Kamo ra man gud diha gud mga non-religious good nga wa kay bawo na wa man nagiingon diha nga thou shall not touch children.
That's true.
So I was thinking about if there's a middle ground between you're actually mentally sick, you're really a pedophile, and number two,
There, that's that. Yeah.
something happens to you when you're not allowed to have sex, when your vow of celibacy actually makes you want to have intercourse or touch other children, for example, right, or other people. Ang middle ground na Justin ba ni? This is another theory, okay? Since dili man sila they're not allowed to have sex, right? This is actually a vow of celibacy, di ba?
Celibacy, yeah.
Dili man sila allowed, right? So ang ilang buhaton is because they cannot have sex with other people niya. Ang uban ani nila kay na may mga bata daghan sa gawas nila sa ilang environment. So mo na lang ilang abuse kana lang naaduol nila. Pero they're not necessarily pedophiles in the beginning. You know what I mean? Kakawan ka. Na murag wala may lain, mura may naadiha. Kay numdum ka ni ni Arnold Schwarzenegger nga nabuntisan niya iyang katabang. Di ba? Kakadungo ka ng
I
storya.
didn't hear about that.
Arnold Schwarzenegger impregnated one of his
Kanang-
helpers, right? I think Michael Jackson's son is actually from one of his helpers. Anyway, point is nga basig mura may nadia. So kana they're not necessarily pedophiles. So kung tanaw na nimo sa imo nang studyuhan, imo nang screen og tarong, dili gyud sila pedophile.
So it could be nga murag
Mura may nadia.
yeah.
Pero of course, we all know stories about priests with children too, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, daghan man kay
Oh,
inana.
yeah.
I know a lot. So I don't know which is worse, right? I think I think it's worse nga you're a pedophile compared to a
for sure.
priest having a
Yeah.
family, a child, for
I
example.
believe that's a
Yeah, but here's the thing. Ngano man gyud nga celibate unsa man gyud ang vow of celibacy?
yeah.
Because daghan magong mga versions, iterations,
Yeah.
strains of Christianity aside from the Catholic Church nga pwede ra maminyo ang pare, di ba?
Yeah,
Yan
like
ang
ang mga
pastor, di ba?
pastors,
Pastor, di ba? So unsa man gyud
Why are we still rigid about
ngano
that?
man gyud nga dili man gyud nimo ipaminyo ang pare?
You know, I would really love to have someone from the church to
Unsa may
represent.
naan? Unsa
For
may
what
naan?
I do, please correct me if I'm wrong. What I do remember lang yun. I remember we literally asked that sa mga brothers
Yeah,
and priests
yeah,
that
okay,
taught
okay.
in our school before. Yeah. They mentioned manggod nga murag for them to be able to fully submit themselves as servants of the Lord.
Okay.
They cannot have attachments. That includes family members. So same thing as when their families give them away to the convents. They are no longer children of their parents but children of Christ. They cannot also be parents of other
Children.
children. They cannot also be spouses of other people because
Because
the
full
focus
full commitment to
your
the
focus it's aside from a na siya giingon nga murag practicality wise, you know, if you're bound to if you have a spouse, you know, you're bound to kanang provide for them and for your family as a father should nga na. So they must free themselves of those commitments to be fully in service to God. That's what I remember ha, mao nang gi-mention nila kay nangutan na sad mi ana nga mga pastor man lagi pwede man na siya nga lahi man daw ang belief sa
Catholic Church,
Catholic
diba?
Church, lahi man lahi man gid ang Roman Catholic nga
Kay-
you know, the focus must be in that you cannot fully submit yourself. Lahi imohang purpose sa daw ang mga pastors, lahi po na sila because they have like a family perspective. So like they have their own family but they treat their congregation as their family as well. Pero the way that the Roman Catholic Church would see it, as I remember how they mentioned it to us, is that dapat wala kay attachment. Your family is the congregation. It's not the family that you created from your own relationships.
But
or-
you're a
That's what I remember lang
you're
ha.
a son before you became a priest,
That's
right?
the thing, yeah.
So nana jud kay
Your
attachment.
attachment to
You're
family.
attached to your mom, right?
Yeah.
So unsa man ni imong isalikway imong inahan ug amahan? Is that what it is? Because
Yeah, that's the
kung attachment ra tong giistoryahan kani, nobody is unattached
No,
unless you're born
you
of
didn't choose man to be born. That is the family given to you
Okay.
by birth.
Okay.
But when you have a spouse, when you have children, you chose that man. You
Yeah.
chose to create your own
okay. So
unit.
choice.
Yeah. So lahi ng family. You are gifted to the family man gyud.
Nganong importante man nimo ang word nga choice nga ang atong hisgutan ani ang attachment man. So
Oo.
kanang attachment man gud pasabot na kay mga paminaw, you have feelings for the love of your mom, the love of your dad,
Yeah.
right? And you know, na kay mga igsuon, di ba? Na kay
Family.
mga nephews and nieces, right? So na kay dang attachment dan, why does it
That-
matter if it's a choice or not?
What I remember lang gyud is motong giingon niya nga, motong giingon sa one of our brothers nga for them to be fully for them
Committed.
to fully submit themselves as servants
Okay.
to God, kanang they need to choose that attachment to their congregation, to the church, to God. So they cannot do that if nasa sila ilang own family. Which then I remember we asked, ano man di ay pwede naman kamo sa no, it's different kay imuhang priority, imuhang focus lahi if naa daw kay imong own family.
No, but that's just
So I was like, oh, okay.
But that's just a kind of a theory nga mura og kung maminyo ang pare basig dili kay ni mahitabo aning manginaning nga butangan, you know.
Not basic also like as a you have your spousal duty to really kanang care and take care of and provide for your partner.
Dili akong pasabot ba
Same thing as a father.
is ang theory magud nato ganiha is nga something happens, something snaps if you're celibate, right? So kung maminyo ka pasabot ka nang dili na ka mo snap kay you can have sex naman because you're not there's no
Yeah.
vow of celibacy.
I
So
remember-
that's the one problem that might be addressed if maminyo ka, right? So number 2 kanang access to express your urges, 'di ba? Kung surrounded may mga
Expression of urges.
naman kay mga surrounded by bata, dihan na lang ka
Mo pagawas, ana.
Pagawas ana.
Oo.
Pero kung nakay asawa, nakay partner, then makagapagawas ka. So
I remember,
yeah.
this is why also I would really wish to have someone in the community would represent. Because
Yeah.
I don't wanna. I'm afraid also of misrepresenting. So this is all just based on what I remember. We were told
Yeah.
in high school. These brothers, who we respect very much, by the way, and talk us a lot. So I remember we asked that too.
That's
Kani
good.
mga bugoy nga classmates
That's
nga
good,
mga
that's
laki,
good, that's
sila
good.
ra gyud ang
Unsa may pangutan nila?
kanay nga na, sir, how do you express your urge? We're all human.
Oh, yeah.
You're not a superhuman.
Ano, sa tubag sa mga bata. Sa mga pare.
They have a redirection of that energy.
Unsa man nila?
Exercise and minimalization of idle time. Kung
Se-
tempted sila,
Dili sexercise?
exercise
Okay.
o kanang minimalization of idle time daw. Kung tempted sila,
So
they,
dili
they cannot put them, they should not,
minimization of idle time. Pasabutan na di gid sila mag-meditate. Di gid sila mag
lahi.
alone time kay
Lahi man ang meditation kay
Kaya
you're
mag-alone?
conscious man. Idle time means you're not doing anything,
Okay.
you're not present, you're not conscious. Bored ka ba? You're giving into boredom.
Yeah.
Mas na man sila chance to do something that they're not supposed to do. And then
why pare nga ma-board? so pade ha, di ka pwede
di ka
ma-board.
pwede ma-board. Balik ma-addict na lang kag TikTok, no? Basta di lang gid pedophile. Choose your poison. Choose your addiction na lang, no?
Samog ka.
Outlet. So, mo to yung ingon. So, I remember my classmates were asking, so what do you do? What do you do? Siya, we run. We play basketball. We do, like, we do crap. We do chores. That's why there should be no one helping. We grow crops. We, So, I was like, oh, okay. But, like you mentioned, like, scientifically, we need someone. We need a doctor, maybe a psychologist to prove that. How long can you keep that up? Is that going to be a healthy redirect? Can you redirect it forever? Because, I don't know also. Because all that really is energy man
Yeah,
gyud.
yeah.
That's all energy man that your body needs to release, but ila lang i-channel through a different way. Pero my what I'm thinking sad is, can you channel that in that manner forever? Is it healthy? Will you snap?
I know this is probably not a correct analogy, but
Yeah, I don't.
pagka kadang tao nga atong makaon mo gid di ba?
Oh, like tofu?
So ay kong tao ayo pakana, di ba?
Living on tofu for
So, no, ay pakana ba? So like that's when cannibalism sets in, right? Like you eat whatever you see,
Mark,
right?
that's your primal instinct
Yeah.
man.
So kanang the urge to have sex, right? Is that similar to that, right? Kung wala kay sex kana for a long time, forever in that case sa mga pare, like
Would they snap?
what does ang pangutana ni, how does snapping look like? Unsa may tabo nimo, right? So mo nang pangutana, pero but then again,
CGG, that just
yeah.
reinforces why psychological aid is most important in that field, in that practice.
Psychological age.
Aid.
Okay.
Like, ingana, I feel like compared to all industries, like compared to they need it the most.
Like a psychologist, like a psychiatrist.
Yeah, not an advisor, not a counselor, but actual psychiatrist to help them. Because they have to suppress the nature of their job, because it's really work. The nature of their job, the nature of their, that's not a job. There's a more kanang better term
Vocation.
for that. Thank you.
Oh.
Okay, that doesn't sound right to just say job.
Yeah.
The nature of their vocation calls for them to suppress. It's really the word.
Yeah.
Suppress or redirect that primal need.
Oh.
And like you said, human as we are, like that's also like suppressing a human part of ourselves, right? The worldly part of ourselves. So I feel like now more than ever, that just reinforces the fact now they would really need that rigorous psychological
Advisor, right?
advisor.
Yeah.
Really,
So na ba na?
even in screening
Yeah.
for them, how long can they take before they snap? Those kinds of things more or less can be gauged, man.
Correct.
Through kind of standardized tests, which I'm like, I don't think the congregations make use of that. Maybe like slight personality test, but the basic, but not like, I don't know how to explain it, but that's a vocation that deals with people the most. So I feel like they need it.
Napoy uban sa kabantay ko sa nga napoy mga pare nga uban nga murag effeminate bitaw.
What does that mean?
Effeminate. Murag bag medyo
Feminine?
more feminine side ba. Napoy uban nga pare nga bayot, di ba? Napoy mga gay uban nga pare,
yeah,
di ba?
I noticed that
Yeah.
too.
Nakabantay sa gonan niya.
More behavior side, and that's also very like
Yeah.
subjective side. Okay, now like what constitutes man gidi ay kana effeminate behavior?
Yeah. But what I'm saying ba is nagit siguro mga personality traits nga ma-attract sa kanang klase nga vocation sa siguro, right?
Yeah.
Makibaw sila nga, for example, kanang if if you're gay, for example, of course it's 2025, right? In this day and age, it's fine to be gay, right?
Yeah.
But what if grabe kay ka conservative imong pamilya? Grabe kay sila ka mo condemn anang pagka-gay, di ba? So imong buhaton is para ang Ginoo nalay bahala nako. Magpari na lang ko para hopefully ma-enlighten ko nga dili na jud ko mo mabayot. For example,
I've heard accounts of people in the religious in the clergy ba
Oh.
who have that experience
Yeah.
nga they were confused when they were younger about their sexuality, and they felt like it was something that being in the church would
Yeah.
fix.
Yeah,
That's the
would
word.
Fix.
Fix.
Pray
And
pray the gay away, right?
Yeah, for a lot of them it worked because
Yeah.
it helped them understand
Yeah,
themselves, and
Yeah.
that kanang maybe that's their preference,
Yeah,
but they
yeah.
don't have to necessarily act on it, may ana.
yeah. Namay mechanism ang imuhang institution nga namay kay celibacy. So dili gyud ka maka-express imong gayness kay namay balaod sa imuhang gitrabahuan, imuhang vocation, right? So murag
Pero Jiggy, I agree with that. There are personality traits that can like what's the meaning that can like more preempt na.
mo gravitate sila sa usa ka klaseng vocation or trabaho.
Yes, that's true.
Oh.
Yes, and that's why even as young as high schoolers, there are standardized tests that schools even employ to help you find which field of work might be for you. And I had friends nga sa top 3 man ang results. For example, more or less your personality would be fit. Again, these are not like hard and fast kanang ano gid ba kanang murag baon na gid na. But it would really state there unsay
Yeah.
mga line of work nga more or less compatible to your personality.
Okay.
Na ko'y mga friends nga ilang top 3 sa bottom kay clergy.
Mm.
Because it has to do kay sa test it proved nga ilang personality is they're spiritual, religious, or blah. They have that certain kind of ideology.
So what does that mean? Does that make them more gay or more pedophilic?
No, I'm just affirming what you mentioned nga kanang there's a way to tell that your personality traits can see if more compatible ka to a certain
Yeah, but
vocation.
That's
true, there are.
What I'm proposing is nga naay mga personality traits nga ngilad.
ngilad.
Nga ma-attract anang vocation kay they have number one the mechanism of suppression, right? So kung gay ka, kung homosexual ka, o niya magpari ka, then na may mechanism nga mo suppress. So dili na ka mabayot, mahog. At least you think nga dili na ka bayot, kinamay mechanism nga mahunong ang imong pagkabayot, di ba?
That's actually a very interesting research topic.
Yeah.
For those who might want to do research on that, kanang mag-make og thesis, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Ngilad are like negative personality traits that would make you more more kanang
Inclined to a certain industry, certain vocation, certain job, right?
yeah, or that's
Priesthood.
priesthood.
Oh.
That's a very specific research topic.
yeah.
Super
Specific, right?
super specific and super relevant.
And super important too, right?
Yeah. So far, guys, we talked about so much of the. I like it when we do stuff like this, and I feel bad because most of the time when I learn about the topic in the morning, I'm learning about it for the first time, like as we go.
Yeah.
So then, for our viewers, they might think, "Someone mention basa daan," because I'm like scrambling through. But it's also nice.
Naay description na itawag nila og unread library effect or the for example kanang ma-flush sa toilet ko na ba? Toilet flush, right? Everybody uses a toilet flush, right? Ibaw mo kang paslito ni mo ma-flush ang toilet, di ba? Pero i-explain na gud unsaon na pag-flush, right? You have no answer, right? So mura bag unread library effect ba nga you think you know something because it's so very present, right? Pag human once you start
Sit
talking
down,
about
talk about Burka kung blanco.
There's
That's really me.
There's so many things that you don't know, right?
Yeah, exactly.
About a very, very easy, supposedly easy topic because we have been exposed to the church forever since we were little.
Yeah.
Since we're born and raised Catholics
And
or
it's
Christians,
also,
right?
Yeah, and it's also applicable to our first topic in this talk, nga katong
wage
hike.
kanang
Because
sweldo na.
it's been increasing and decreasing for
whatever,
years naman.
we don't.
Pero when we actually sit down and talk about
yeah.
monotag Wait,
Sige to.
I have to
So mo na
research.
kita og unread library
So,
effect.
mauna siya, Jiggy, why we would really need everyone else's opinions. And we're hoping that on, not tomorrow, Monday.
Monday, yeah.
Monday, when we meet again on Monday, when we talk about current events, we'll get your inputs, guys.
Yeah. Please do join us in our conversations atong Maganisay ta Sugbo. This happens every day, Mondays through
Yeah.
Fridays from 8 a.m. until 12 noon. And we're also live on Top of the Mornings YouTube. And I also do my own show. Whoa!
Dili makainit. It's nice to open.
Beautiful, right?
Yeah.
So not just the view, but also Justine. Did you see it? Do you see that, guys? That's Justine Narvios. You can join us also on our personal Facebook pages, Jiggy Juice and also Justine Narvios and Tops Media Center on Facebook. Join us in our conversation. In fact, if you like, we will post this video, this conversation on online on Facebook, right? So if you want, you can make your comments, right? Join our conversation, albeit dili na siya live, right? But we can talk about it and discuss it
Still,
on
yeah,
Monday,
definitely.
right? Because this topic is far from being over and done, right? Because there's so much we did not tackle. Both are the topics that we discussed this morning: the proposed wage hike of 200 pesos across the board, and of course the child abuse controversy in the Catholic Church, which are both all over the headlines. Let's do it again on Monday. You guys have a great weekend, right?
Yeah, guys.
And we're going to be doing the 7-Eleven run,
Woohoo!
Justine and I. So I'll see all the runners out there
guys.
for the 7-Eleven run. Ang atong gun start, murag alas 10:30 man siguro to sa gabi.
Yeah.
Karon, ugma.
Tomorrow
Oh,
evening.
ugma.
Saturday
so,
evening.
kani siya kay full marathon man gunin niya. Unya mo gini nakapait Justin nga unlike other countries bang ang ilang gun start sa even a full 42K marathon is alas 5, alas 6. Kay they've got their traffic manggod under control. Kibaw sila sa kita diri kay murag maglisod pa ta tungod sa gamay sa atong mga kadalanan unya ang mga tao dili kay disiplinado anip ta kuwang taog mga pulis. So ang atong buhaton ani is isayo na lang yun nato para dili kayo daghang sakanan sa kadalanan para makapadayon ta sa atong
Daily activities.
7-Eleven run, right?
Yeah.
But I'm hoping sooner rather than later. Hopefully we can find a way. Kay lisod mo kay ng imong sleeping habits bitaw. Kuno na arago na
Well, it's just for a run though.
No, but
so
still, na arago na gud nga ikaw natug ka, gabi ka for an entire year. Or
and then
for,
suddenly
all of a sudden,
you stress yourself all night to run.
To run. Grabe pa jud intense pa jud kaayo ang imong exertion, ang imong effort, di ba? 42 kilometers guna. Huna-una na. Do that nga way katug. Right?
Exactly.
That makes it doubly hard. Anyway,
But we'll see you guys.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys tomorrow at the 7-Eleven run and on Monday as
Monday.
well. And hopefully Monday we'll have more insights on this.
Yeah.
And basi na anay news. We never know. On
Yeah.
Monday ang wage hike next week maano naman daw to. Mga sign sa Congress and then
correct.
we don't know if maimpriso na ning mga priest by then.
Or they'll have a study, right?
Oh yeah.
And find a way to make sure nga nice screening process nga.
Ang dili na sa mahibaw ang mga pedophile.
But you know what? Just like
Far-fetched lang din na siya.
just like the world, Justine, I think the priesthood, the vocation church is not exempt from the frailties
yes.
of humanity, right?
Yes.
And I think being an organization, just like all organizations, just like all nations, just like all personalities, just like all people, nagit tayo mga human tendencies, right? And we are not.
They're not exempt from that.
They're not exempt from that. So, but that doesn't excuse their behavior. In fact, they should be holier. They should be better people than regular people.
Expected,
It's expected. So we look up to them to become shining examples of how to live a good life, how to live a holy life, how to live
Exactly.
close to God. But you know, with all of this news happening, it's very disappointing. It's very sad, and I hope we can find some kind of a solution to this. This is a problem that's been going on forever.
Yeah.
Daghang salamat sa inyong pagpaminaw sa Top of the Morning Mag-Alisay ta Sugbo. I'm your host. My name is Jiggy Juice.
And my name is Justine Narvios. Bye guys.
Let's do
See
it
you.
again.